I firstly complete my patient's file card with the name of the dentist, patient, and technician as well as the scan date. I confirm with OK and specify my restoration in the administration stage. We are going to create a bar with 2 guide attachments on 4 telescopic preparations. For this, I click on Bridge Restoration, Crown, Telescope to firstly define my preparation. I then enter the missing teeth followed by the bar type. To this end, I click on the connector symbols. We now have a closed restoration. Next comes the attachment, and I now state the milling unit and the material to be milled. I confirm with OK, and then jump to the scanning stage. In this case, 2 scans have been produced in order to design the bar. Firstly, we have the preparation scan. We can see here the 4 telescopic preparations, and in BioCopy lower jaw, a wax-up was added under Add to Catalog. In this case, the final prosthesis. The software has calculated this automatically using small reference points. We then enter the model mode, where I am able to trim my restoration again should I so desire. This is not expedient in this case. I jump immediately to drawing the preparation, and can now draw the preparation for tooth 15. I start with a double click, and with a single click I fix the line. If the preparation margin is not easily visible, I can switch to manual mode or display the contrasts more clearly with an intensity image. I can also change the preparation lines at a later date. The same is done for tooth 13. Double-click to start. Click once to fix, double-click to end. Double-click to start, click once to fix, double-click to end, and correction of the preparation. 25. Double-click, click once to fix, one click to end. I then specify the bridge insertion axis. The yellow arrows indicate the insertion axis of the bridge, and the colored areas are undercuts. I can now change the bridge restoration on the crosshairs in order to establish an optimal insertion axis and confirm with OK. If there are undercuts in the individual restorations, I could determine the restoration axis for each separate restoration via the insertion axis. For this, I confirm with OK and then specify the restoration axis for my telescopic angle. Of course, it does not make sense to do this for an individual restoration. To this end, I click on Group and activate all the restorations on the model and can display the telescope angle on my crosshairs. I have the wax up as a reference point. I click on Show Objects, biocopy lower jaw, and render it slightly translucent. I move the controller downwards and can now align my telescope angle in order to make optimal use of the available space. I confirm with OK, and then move to the Design mode. Here, I firstly define the parameters for all my restorations. Spacer for the fit of my preparation. Radial occlusal material wall thickness as per the manufacturer's instructions. Margin reinforcement. If no reinforcement is desired, I can also change this. Cervical shoulder width of my telescope. Telescope angle. Telescope height. Milling radius correction. Remove undercuts. Should undercuts occur, the software would block these out immediately and the width of the occlusal shoulder. I then determine the parameters for my bar. The height of the bar. The width of the bar. The angle according to my telescopes. Radius for the bar end, in order not to generate breaking points, and the interdental spaces in order to make cleaning easier for the patient. I then specify the parameters for my attachment. Diameter of the attachment head. The length of the attachment. The bridge length, i.e. the distance between the attachment head and the restoration. The thickness. The distance to the gingiva. I build up pressure by pressing minus, i.e. I stay in the plus range. Gingival adaptation, whether desired or not. And if a divided attachment is designed, a spacer can be set here between the divided attachment and the secondary restoration. If desired, a shoulder for the attachment. I confirm with OK. As such, all the parameters for my restoration are applied and the software now generates an initial proposal for me. I can now change the individual restoration. To do this, I double-click on the respective indication, i.e. on the bar, and using the right-hand button, I open the tools with which I wish to change the restoration. First of all, I can either reposition the bar by moving or rotating it. When I deactivate the tool, the new position is incorporated in the proposal. Next, I can also change the shape of my bar slightly. This is done via Shape Circular and means I can change the bar to suit my needs. This is done with drag and drop. I also have the option of changing the contour of my bar. For this, simply drag and drop either upwards or downwards. It is then radially thickened or tapered. I can also create occlusal thickening or tapering. As the last parameter, I can view and alter the gingival adaptation. I click on the Fit tool and move the controller upwards in order to create a clearance. I move the controller downwards into the minus range to create pressure on the gingiva and confirm this with Apply. Next, I can change my telescope. Right-click, Scale. Here I can shorten, scale down, or increase the size of my shoulder. Alternatively, I can increase or reduce the telescope height occlusally according to the space available. I am then able to build up material occlusally using the Form tool. However, this is only done occlusally, as otherwise I would change the telescope angle, i.e. a safety measure is integrated here. I then use the Shape tool, which, unlike the Form tool, which builds up occlusal material, can be used for distorting and moving. The same applies to the attachment. I can change my contour and position here. I firstly change the position of my attachment. I rotate it. However, I must take care here. If I move it into my axis, I lose my telescope angle, and thus I only rotate it. I move it in slightly, and also do the same on the other side. If the attachment has changed completely, for example, it is possibly outside of the telescope angle, I would now have the chance to click on Recalculate, and the attachment would be aligned again according to the first proposal. Once the design has been concluded, I go to the milling review. The restoration is now displayed in the block. I can save this in the InLab software or export my selection in order to either mill it in the Stack software or to save it as an Infinident file via File Restoration, and to have it manufactured in the various metals. I can also change the sprue location now via right-click, Sprue Location. The green area indicates where the optional point would be. If I click on this, it is changed. Finally, I can activate sinter support under milling options in order to avoid distortion when sintering.